Small space, big life. These gadgets are going to make your apartment work harder. Number 1, robot vacuum with LiDAR mapping. Let's start with the one that immediately buys you back time every single day. A robot vacuum, but not just any robot vacuum, specifically one with LiDAR laser mapping. The reason that matters in a small apartment is counterintuitive. Tight spaces are actually harder to navigate than open ones. There are chair legs, charging cables on the floor, narrow passages between furniture. A robot that just bumps around randomly is going to get stuck constantly and leave whole sections uncleaned. LiDAR-equipped models like the Ecovacs Dbot T50 Pro Omni or equivalent mid-tier options create an actual geometric map of your apartment the first time they run, then clean methodically, row by row. They remember the layout, you can create no-go zones in the app, you can tell it to clean just the kitchen without touching the bedroom. And the docking stations on current models are genuinely slim, designed specifically for apartments where the charging base lives under a desk or in a closet corner. Ecovacs' own guidance notes that a 250 square foot apartment can be cleaned in under 45 minutes. Schedule it for 3 p.m. daily and you come home to clean floors every single day without thinking about it. That's not a luxury, that's a reclaimed hour every week. Number 2, smart LED strip lights, RGBIC. Here's the thing about a small apartment. The square footage doesn't change, but how the space feels changes dramatically based on light. The single overhead light that came with your apartment produces a flat, institutional illumination that makes every room look like a waiting room. RGBIC LED strips change that completely, and they cost under $30 for a strip that can run the full length of a room. RGBIC, which stands for red, green, blue, independently controlled, means each segment of the strip can display a different color simultaneously, producing gradients, flowing effects, and multicolor scenes, rather than the whole strip being one flat color. Mount them behind your TV, along the back of a shelf, or along the ceiling perimeter, and you have tunable atmospheric lighting that can be warm white for reading, deep blue for focus, or pulsing in sync with whatever music you're playing. The Govee brand specifically has built an app with built-in scene presets, music sync via your phone's microphone, scheduling, and compatibility with Alexa, Google Home, and Matter for broader smart home integration. The Wirecutter at the New York Times recommended the Govee Strip Light 2 Pro for its accuracy and installation flexibility. $20 to $30, the visual return on that investment is absurd. Number 3, smart plug with energy monitoring. This one sounds boring and turns out to be one of the most genuinely useful things in this apartment. A smart plug like the TP-Link Casa KP115 costs around $10 to $15 and does several things that are hard to get any other way. First, it makes any existing lamp, fan, coffee maker, or appliance controllable by your phone and by any voice assistant. Your regular lamp becomes a smart lamp without replacing the bulb. You set schedules, you turn things off from bed, you create routines. But the KP115 specifically adds energy monitoring, and this is where it gets interesting for a small apartment. You open the Casa app and it tells you the real-time wattage of whatever is plugged into it, the total daily and monthly consumption, and an estimated cost based on your utility rate per kilowatt hour. Plug your space heater into it for a month and you will see exactly how much it costs to run. Same with the gaming PC, a TV, a dehumidifier. In an apartment where you're paying your own electricity bill, knowing which devices are the actual cost drivers is genuinely actionable information. The KP115 is the cheapest possible instrument for that level of insight. Number 4, Amazon Echo Show 5. A smart display sounds like a nice to have until you've lived with one for a week, and then it becomes the thing you wonder how you managed without. The Amazon Echo Show 5 is a 5.5-inch touchscreen smart display that sits on your bedside table or kitchen counter and does a surprising amount of quiet, useful work. It's your alarm clock, but one that also tells you the weather, your first calendar event, and the travel time to wherever you're going this morning without you touching anything. cooking. It's your video calling device for keeping up with family. It's a recipe assistant that shows step-by-step instructions while you cook without you touching your phone with floury hands. It shows your live security camera feeds when you're away. It controls your smart home devices with voice commands, which in a small apartment where everything is within shouting distance means you literally never need to pick up your phone to turn a light off. The third generation model runs on Amazon's AZ2 Neural Edge processor, which makes it noticeably faster and more responsive than older versions. It has a physical camera shutter, a hardware slider, not software, for the bedroom. At around $80 with regular discounts that bring it to $60 or less, it is the densest collection of useful daily functions per square inch of counter space you can buy. Number 5. Smart Thermostat, Google Nest Thermostat. The standard thermostat that came with your apartment is a passive device. It does exactly what you manually set it to, no more, no less. A smart thermostat is an active one. The Google Nest thermostat, the entry-level model, not the flagship learning thermostat, sits at around $130, is compatible with most standard 24-volt HVAC systems, requires no C-wire in most installations, and connects to your Wi-Fi so you can control your temperature from anywhere via the Google Home app. What this means practically, you stop paying to heat or cool an empty apartment. You set eco mode whenever you leave, and the thermostat drops to a temperature range that maintains the unit without running at full cost. You set a schedule so it comes back to comfortable just before you get home. You make quick adjustments from your phone when your plans change. The Google Nest thermostat is Energy Star certified, and the U.S. Department of Energy's guidelines on programmable thermostat use have consistently shown that proper thermostat scheduling can reduce heating and cooling costs by up to 10% annually. For renters, this is worth noting. Installation is a simple screwdriver job and is fully reversible, so the original thermostat goes back up when you move out. 6. SwitchBot Curtain 3. This is the gadget that gets the most surprised reactions from people who see it in action for the first time. The SwitchBot Curtain 3 is a motorized robot that rides along your existing curtain rod and pushes or pulls your curtain fabric. You don't replace the curtains. You don't install new hardware. You hang it on your current rod in 3 steps, connect it to the app, and your existing curtains become smart curtains. The practical benefit in a small apartment is significant. You can schedule your curtains to open automatically at sunrise, which wakes you more gently and naturally than an alarm, and close at sunset for privacy. Voice command "Open the curtains" through Alexa or Google Home while you're lying in bed works perfectly. The Curtain 3 was specifically noted in reviews as the most quietest curtain robot SwitchBot has made, which matters enormously in an apartment where you and possibly a sleeping partner are in the same room. It runs on a built-in rechargeable battery that lasts months between charges. One reviewer at XDA Developers described it as the most underrated smart home upgrade they had made. For around $60 to $90 depending on when you shop, it's a very convincing argument. 7. Levitt Core 300S Air Purifier. The air quality in a small apartment is worse than people think, not because apartments are inherently dirty spaces, but because of the volume-to-occupant ratio. Cooking smells, pet dander, off-gassing from furniture and paint, pollen tracked in from outside, and general dust accumulation all concentrate faster in a smaller space. The Levitt Core 300 and its smart variant, the Core 300S, have become the default recommendation in this category for good reason. The Core 300 filters rooms up to 219 square feet, cycling the air in that space through a true HEPA filter, which captures particles down to 0.3 microns with 99.97% efficiency, nearly 5 times per hour. At its lowest speed setting, it runs at 24 decibels, quieter than a whisper. Sleep mode drops it to its lowest, quietest operation automatically, so it cleans your bedroom air through the night without you noticing it. The 300S version adds app connectivity, so you can set schedules and monitor filter life from your phone. At around $100, it is legitimately one of the best value air purifiers on the market for small spaces. 8. August Wi-Fi Smart Lock. For renters, the smart lock situation requires some careful navigation. You can't or shouldn't replace your landlord's hardware in a way that requires drilling new holes or altering the door. The August Wi-Fi smart lock solves this problem elegantly. It installs on the inside of your existing deadbolt. You remove the interior thumb turn, replace it with the August unit, and that's the entire installation. The exterior of your door is completely unchanged. Your original physical key still works. Your landlord still has full access. What you gain is the ability to lock and unlock your door from anywhere in the world via the app. You get an activity log that tells you who locked or unlocked the door and when. You can share digital keys with guests, a dog walker or a cleaner with controlled access windows, so the key only works on Tuesday between 2 and 4 p.m. Auto lock engages on a timer, so you never leave for work and spend the day wondering if you locked up. It integrates with Alexa, Google Home, and Apple HomeKit. Multiple publications in 2025 describe it as the benchmark renter-friendly smart lock, specifically because of how it preserves the exterior hardware. It typically runs around $150 to $200. 9. Nanoleaf Shapes Panels. Your walls are vertical space that most apartment dwellers completely ignore. Nanoleaf Shapes panels, available in hexagonal, triangular, and square formats, are modular LED light panels that mount to the wall using removable adhesive strips, meaning there's no drilling and they come off cleanly when you move. You arrange them in whatever pattern you want, and each panel is independently controllable for color, brightness, and animation effects. The reason these feel so different from regular LED strips is the format. They're geometric architectural pieces that look genuinely designed, not like a lighting product you bought on the internet. When they're off, they read as interesting wall art. When they're on, the effect is a kind of living, shifting color field on your wall that changes the entire character of a room. They connect to Alexa, Google Home, and Apple HomeKit, support music sync, and you can build your own color scenes or choose from hundreds of pre-built ones in the Nanoleaf app. Tom's Guide called them the ultimate mood booster and said they bring even the most boring walls to life. The starter kit of 9 hexagons runs at $200, and expansion packs are available to grow the installation over time. 10. Smart Door Sensor. A door sensor is a small 2-part magnetic device that splits across the frame of a door, one piece on the door, one piece on the frame, and detects whether the door is open or closed. For under $15, devices like the Aqara door and window sensor give you something that sounds simple and turns out to be surprisingly useful as a building block for apartment automation. The most basic use, get a notification on your phone if the front door is opened while you're not home, but the more interesting applications come from using it as a trigger for other automations. When the front door opens, the lights come on. When the front door closes, the smart lock auto locks and the thermostat switches to home mode. When a cabinet door under the sink stays open for more than 30 seconds, you get a reminder that you forgot to close it. In a small apartment where you can get meaningful automation coverage without a lot of devices, a door sensor is one of the cheapest and most versatile building blocks in the ecosystem. 11. Smart bulbs, Philips Whiz A19. We talked about LED strips for ambient light. Smart bulbs are the functional lighting layer, your overhead lights, your lamps, your reading light. The best argument for Philips Whiz bulbs specifically in 2025 is the combination of quality and cost structure. Whiz is a separate product line from the premium Philips Hue system. Critically, it requires no hub and no bridge. The bulbs connect directly to your home Wi-Fi. A 4-pack costs around $18 to $25. Each bulb gives you full color spectrum from warm amber all the way to cool daylight white, plus millions of color options. The Whiz app has preset lighting scenes for sleep, focus, reading, and relaxation, each one tuned to color temperatures that support those activities based on circadian rhythm research. An expert panel at Smart Home Explorer rated Wiz at 7 out of 10 for color accuracy compared to 5 out of 10 for the cheapest alternatives. For $25 covering an entire room, you get meaningful scene control, Alexa and Google compatibility, Siri shortcut support, and scheduling. The experience of being able to say goodnight to your apartment from bed and have all the lights go off is something you adapt to very quickly. 12. Compact Smart Projector Anker Nebula Capsule 3. In a small apartment, a television takes up wall space, costs a significant amount, and has a fixed location. A smart projector lives in a drawer or on a shelf until you want it, and then it turns any blank wall or ceiling into a screen. The Anker Nebula Capsule 3 is a compact cylindrical projector about the size of a large can of soda. It projects up to 120-inch image and runs Google TV natively, so Netflix, YouTube, Disney+, Prime Video, and every other streaming service is built in. No external device needed. The brightness on the Capsule 3 is 300 ANSI lumens, which is sufficient for a darkened or dim room. It runs up to 2.5 hours on its internal battery, and it also runs while plugged in. You can point it at the wall in portrait mode and use it as a smart speaker when it's not projecting. The autofocus is automatic. You just set it down and it calibrates itself to the wall surface within seconds. For anyone who watches movies alone or with one other person in an apartment bedroom, this eliminates the need to buy a television for that room entirely while giving you a far bigger image. It typically retails around $350 to $450 with regular discounts. 13. Smart Motion Sensor. A motion sensor is another one of those inexpensive building blocks, around $15 to $25 for brands like Aqara or Philips Hue, that create automation value far beyond their cost. In a small apartment, the most immediately useful application is simple: lights that turn on when you walk into the bathroom at 2 a.m. without you having to fumble for a switch in the dark, and turn off automatically a minute after you leave. But it goes further. The hallway light comes on when you walk toward it carrying groceries. The kitchen light activates when you enter. Motion absence detection turns things off automatically when a room has been empty for a set period, so you stop leaving lights on in rooms you've already left. Pair a motion sensor with a smart plug running a fan, and the fan activates when you enter the room during the summer. The cost of ownership is so low and the automation flexibility is so high that a 2-pack of motion sensors might be the most technically efficient smart home purchase you make. 14. Instant Pot Duo Mini 3-quart. The kitchen in a small apartment is one of the significant space challenges. Most people accumulate individual appliances: a rice cooker, a slow cooker, a steamer, a sauté pan, a yogurt maker, each of which takes up counter or cabinet space permanently, and most of which get used occasionally. The Instant Pot Duo Mini at 3-quart capacity replaces all 7 of those functions in a single unit that is, as multiple reviews note, barely taller than a gallon of milk. The Mini is specifically sized for 1 to 2 people, the target demographic for studio and 1-bedroom apartments. It pressure cooks in up to 70% less time than conventional methods, meaning a chicken stew that would take 2 hours on the stove takes about 20 minutes. Tech Gear Lab tested it specifically for apartment and dorm use and found that it offers the convenience of cooking smaller meals and provides pretty much all the performance and convenience of its larger siblings. At around $50 to $60, it is 7 appliances in one footprint, roughly the size of a hardback book standing upright. 15. Smart Smoke and Carbon Monoxide Detector. The smoke detector that came with your apartment is probably a standalone unit that screams at 3 a.m. when you burn toast and goes silent when you wave a dish towel at it. A smart smoke and carbon monoxide detector, specifically the Nest Protect, adds dimensions to that basic function that matters significantly in an apartment context. The Nest Protect differentiates between fast-burning smoke and slow-burning smoke. It detects carbon monoxide, which the basic detector that probably came with your unit does does not. It speaks to tell you what type of emergency it's detecting and where in the apartment it is. Most importantly, it sends a notification to your phone, so if something happens while you're asleep or away, you know immediately. Multiple Nest Protect units in a network all sound simultaneously if one detects an issue. The path light feature turns the unit into a gentle night light for safe movement in the dark. For something that sits on your ceiling and you never interact with consciously, the practical improvement over a basic detector in a small apartment is substantial. It typically retails around $119.
16. Wireless charging pad or stand. The cable situation on a small apartment nightstand or desk is a constant low-level annoyance. Chargers falling behind furniture, cables tangled together, the phone that needs to be moved to be charged. A Qi 2 certified wireless charging stand or pad eliminates most of that. You set the phone down in approximately the right position and it starts charging. A Qi 2 pad for iPhones delivers the full 15W maximum wireless charging speed that the hardware supports, and Qi 2 works on Android phones that support the standard as well. The Anchor Mag Go range of Qi 2 stands, not the flat pads, but the angled stands that prop the phone up, cost between $25 and $60 depending on the model and whether you want 2-in-1 or 3-in-1 with an Apple Watch charger. The angled stand format means your phone is readable as a clock or notification panel while it's charging, rather than face down on a pad. For a small bedroom nightstand, this eliminates 2 cable ends and makes the entire phone charging experience a single gesture. The certification matters. Qi 2 carries an official standard that guarantees charging speed compliance, so you're not guessing whether the third-party charger is actually hitting advertised performance. 16 gadgets, every single one designed to make less space feel like more. Pick your starting point.